Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian.
I'm Sabrina.
I'm Zachary Patton Garcia.
And I'm Ian Carlos Crawford, and we're here for the 25th anniversary of Buffy Season 5's Fool for Love. Ian, it is so nice to have you back. I feel like it's been so long.
We love you.
Yes.
Yes, I'm happy to be back. I've been life takes over sometimes.
It does. It does.
You know?
I'll do that. We all have a season 6.
Yeah. Or many of them. 20 years of season
You
6.
always find it.
Why did they do a 900 episode order?
Ian, you, Zach, you both requested this episode specifically, and Sabrina, you got put here because you're part of the A team. So
yeah, because that counts with you through so many relationships.
I love this episode. The last time we covered it, actually, I was like, oh, this is the first time we're like having a discussion, because I had James Marsters on the first time we covered this, so it was like
Did you for this one?
For this one, and it was like just talking about it with him, so I didn't really have like an episode discussion. You know, that makes it like different.
Yeah.
What did we think revisiting this episode, Sabrina?
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. I love it. I think at the time I knew it was one of the best episodes. Like when it aired, I was like, well, that was amazing. But I think every time I watch it, I kind of get it on a deeper level. And I think life and like living for 200 years will teach you what you need to know for this episode. And I think like on rewatching it, I'm like, this is kind of a perfect episode of television. The direction is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The writing is incredible. The characters were perfectly set up in their arcs over multiple seasons. Like chef's kiss. I mean, we were cooking. This is why I love season 5. This stuff.
Right? Because like this and Family are like a really good 1-2 punch that aren't even necessary for the overall arc of the season, but really good character work. And like, again,
I think emotionally.
We say this all the time.
They're necessary, but
yeah, we say this all the time, but like we just don't get shit like that in 10 episode seasons. And it's nice to like, I don't know. And
10 episodes is lucky too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, what'd you think revisiting it?
Oh, perfect. Again, perfect episode of television. And I would argue that it is like very necessary for the overall arc. It is like just connective tissue for everything that's going on this season, all of the themes that we've got, and the fucking Slayer's journey. Like, I love to hear the Slayer lore and Slayer history and like really dive into it. We've got several scenes doing that in one episode, and you know, you don't get that often enough in a TV show about vampire slayers.
Yeah. Ian?
I was thinking about how many of the great episodes of the show are complete tonal departures. You've got Once More with Feeling that breaks the format of the show. Hush kind of breaks the format of the show. A lot of people's, I think, top 5 or top 10 contain those kind of tonal breakers. The thing I love about this episode is it's perfect within the flavor and the structure of the show. And it's as good or better than one of my 2 personal favorite episodes are The Gift, and I've realized it's probably this one. But that was not the case the first couple of times through this show. Like Sabrina said, this episode has grown on me every single time I watch it. It is so dense and so interesting, and I love it.
It's always been a favorite, but I feel like y'all are right. It's like it almost gets better, even already starting at like, oh, I love this. Like there was never a moment when I did not like this episode. And Sabrina, like you, definitely the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, I fucking love this. Like, I loved it immediately while watching it. But I do think I appreciate it more as I don't know. I just appreciate the depth of character and nuance we're bringing to this character. That a couple times in my notes, I write, I hate that people boil Spike down to like, oh no, he always loved Buffy. And I'm like, no, it's more than that. Like, did you watch this episode?
Like, for me, like fundamentally broken people and pieces that fit together or don't.
Yes. And like, I don't know. I was just thinking about it this time around, thinking specifically of that. Because when I posted for the Family episode's 25th anniversary, the comment section has gotten a little out of hand, but a lot of the comments were just like talking about Spike. And like, I'm like, this is a Tara episode. We talk about Spike with literally the next one. And everyone was commenting saying like, see, he always loved everyone. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, he didn't. Stop saying that.
And it's not, okay, we'll get into it, but it's not about love necessarily. Right. That's what he's calling it. But it's about like proximity and like being
Yes.
seen and like closeness and like
Yes.
yeah.
I just don't know that I even noticed those like the depths of Spike with that in relation to that until like this watch. I don't know. I love
Yeah.
this episode. I even forgot the conceit when we started. I was like, oh right, she has to get stabbed first, which then leads Spike to tell her that like I like just forgot that. She
And
gets
it's some of the best flashbacks like of the series, and it's
Yes.
they're the most well done, I think, in this series, this
there's
episode.
for me, flashback episodes. There's some people I've talked to. They're like, I don't like the flashback ones. I'm
I
like,
don't always love them.
you don't like
This
Becoming
one,
Part
though.
2. You don't like Fool for Life. To me, the flashbacks are almost like a telltale sign that you're about to watch one of the best bangers in the entire show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time. That does not hold true for Angel. Thank you, Heartthrob. But
Thank you for saying it.
but for Buffy,
See,
virtually every flashback episode is incredible.
Yeah.
Zach, to your credit, I was just about to say, well, but Zach had to co-host for Angel season 1.
But it makes sense, like especially like in this show. Like I hate the Angel flashbacks, but they work and they set everything up really well. I just like hate him acting in a flashback episode.
Yeah. We
I
don't
think
need an
David
Irish
Boreanaz sucks. But this is like this. I love the Tales of the Slayers, right? Like that's my favorite comic out of this entire world, and this is the closest we get to an adaptation of that. As much as like I pray to the universe we get one, just a season full of them. But like this is the closest that we're gonna get. And
every time
beautiful.
Giles talks about the Slayer that forges her own weapons, you know what I'm thinking of. The epic poem in Tales for the Slayers, which is one of the most gorgeous pieces of
beautiful.
It's so pretty. I wish someone would pay me to do a reading of that one. But anyway.
So Buffy has to get stabbed is the like reason for this to happen. We see Riley
phallic.
Yes.
Well, so this is in episode 7. Every episode 7 sets up kind of the themes of the entire season. So, and season 5 is an inversion of season 1. Season 1 ends with Buffy going into the pits of hell to face the big bad. In season 5, she climbs the tower to face the ending. And the thing I noticed this time was the vampire doesn't attempt to kill her by sucking her blood. The vampire attempts to kill her with the stake. So slaying itself is the thing that almost kills her, not the vampires. That little piece really stuck out to me. I love that.
I feel smarter every time I listen to you.
I know, Jesus Christ. I was like,
I get a brain cell, just a new one just birthed.
This is why we have Ian on with the dumb queers to be like, well, guys, this is what you do. This is what
See, when I think of the end of season 5, I'm like, she looks so pretty up there, right? Like with the
hair
weird.
looks great.
I like your dress.
Great gowns, beautiful gowns.
It's a big hit. So post credits, Riley's bandaging her up. She's talking about what happened. I do like her saying, "Do you think I'm a total wuss?" We also get one of the first this season moments of like sister solidarity almost, where she's like, "All right, Dawn, I'm going to tell you, but you can't tell Mom." And Dawn is like annoying for a second, but then does understand, which I think is a really like important first for Dawn, where it's like you see that she understands why her mom can't know this. Like she knows that their mom's going through something, even though Dawn is like more written as like a spoiled 10-year-old. Here it's like, okay, this is like a young adult preteen teen who like does understand that mom is sick, which I appreciate. She sends Riley out. I'm just getting this all out of the way. Sends Riley out. I do like when Riley patrols and they have the fucking bag of chips. Like,
nothing has ever looked more delicious than that or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pizza.
yes, I wanted chips watching this.
Wait, we're in a whole nother
so
scene
good.
already.
Yes. Oh, did you have
Okay, I just want to yes, just for a second, because in 2025 with, our loss of Miss Michelle Trachtenberg, the shot that stood out to me, it's Buffy brushing her hair back, and that little moment between them feels like it was filmed after her damn death at this point. It hit extra hard, and I had to pause it for a second. It was I don't know, just cock my head at it and
When we covered Real Me, I definitely wept at that end when she pushes her hair back. Like I was like, oh god.
It just felt like such a moment that stuck out and felt a little too real, you know.
Yeah.
But now we can fast forward and
Okay.
One
bag
of
of chips.
one of the things I love about Buffy's character too is that she may struggle with intimacy and communication, but all of her expressions of intimacy are physical. Through touch. She's often like when she's trying to make amends with Dawn after a fight, she touches her shoulder or her hair or all of that. And if Riley were looking, she does the same thing with him in the same way. The other thing I got too is this episode, while containing two of my favorite episodes of the show, contains one of the ones that brings me to violence, which is Into the Woods. I hate that episode. It drives me absolutely insane.
I think I listed that one.
You did, yes.
And this of course is the whole grenade thing that we're about to get to is setting up some of Riley's nonsense for the season, which is fine. Like not knowing where he is and what he fits into and his masculinity, my masculinity, blah blah blah. But the thing that I got in this scene is yes, it's easy to read the scene through Riley's eyes, which is she doesn't trust him to go and do the patrol without her. But this time I saw it and went, wait a second, she just got stabbed. She just got taken down. She's the best. She just got taken down by a vampire. And of course, it's not an insecurity about him. It's an insecurity about if they got her, she wants to make sure that he's safe. But I normally when I watch that scene, for some reason I see it through Riley's insecurity, not her, what just happened to her and her protectiveness, which was a little different for me this time.
See, I mush it in the middle there where I'm like, he's a human.
Yeah.
I think the thing that gets me with it is that Buffy it's not an existential fear so much as it's a fear of like not being enough. And the fact that he steps in to be like, and she's like, you need support of my friends, like you need people around you. But he steps in to be like, I'll do it for you or whatever. It's an attempt to like, I think, reach her and like an attempt to be like, you can feel safe because of me. And the truth is, a boyfriend can't do that for you. And you can have a boyfriend or friends there who are like, I'll handle it. I'll take care of you, like all this stuff. But ultimately, you kind of have to take care of yourself. And she is so used to using the Slayer thing as this like armor for herself. And to realize that armor might, as Ian said, be the thing that ends up taking her down. I think that's a really hard moment for her. And she's like alone with that. And rather than like, what I think she needs, which is someone to just sit with her in proximity and like quietly like let her process and like know that they're there. Riley decides to like jump in and do more in the relationship. He's like, I'm going to be like more active. I'm going to offer more. I'll be more available. I'll put myself in danger for you. And that's actually, I think, ultimately like corrosive to a relationship. I don't know that that's like always exactly like helpful. And it's right there at the beginning. And I think Dawn is in some ways like a younger version of her. It's the version of like Buffy that she never really got to be, which is just like a little scared girl. And like she gets to explain to her, like, I don't know, she gets to like show a brave face and be like, and I think it's just like, it's a short scene, but I think it just like sets up a lot of the stuff. I mean, even like Joyce coming in, it sets up for Joyce leaving, which is like your parents are going to leave too. Like you're kind of alone in this. And I don't know that that's necessarily true. I think at the end we get to Spike and it's like she's not alone. Someone's sitting with her in the way that she needs. But like she is kind of alone with this problem. And Riley is just a complete mismatch for the situation. Yeah. He's not like the wrong person. He's just the wrong person for her, which is brutal.
It is. And he's frustrating this season. Like I fully get that. But I think this is the best way they could have sent him out. Like they have to, he's not a character you can give a really heavy rock bottom to. This has to be the rock bottom, and this is the way to send him out because he doesn't belong here anymore. And also, we all see it, they see it.
His whole arc of falling apart is protest behavior. He's not committed to the bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like, I'm being bad and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get someone's fucking attention and I'm not gonna feel anything and you're gonna know about it. And it's like,
And they don't have time to give him that attention, and he sees that and needs to
Yeah.
just go off.
he
Yeah.
needs
on
to
his
go,
own.
because if he wanted to
Yeah.
die from a vampire, he would have. That wasn't what his
Because
goal
really,
was.
what else? How else do you send him out without killing him? Really,
Yes.
you know, like this is all we've given
And
him.
we didn't
up
need to
until
kill another
now.
Buffy's boyfriend.
I don't
on
think he
top of
needed to
it.
die. I
No.
don't think Riley needed to die. He has more growing to do. Often,
Yeah, he's got to
We-
find someone who can meet him where he is.
Yeah.
That's what he needs. And I think he finds her, and we meet her, and she's kind of boring.
And she's I think she's a badass. I love Sam. I thought Sam was so cool.
All right.
I think she's a boring badass. Like she's tough, but she's boring. She's I always, because I'm Willow in that episode when she's like, "Oh my god, yeah, we'll have to keep in touch." What a bitch! Like that's
We all talk shit about her. We'll all talk shit about her, but
like I'm like, oh, but I like this person, but I'm gonna be a supportive friend, and I'm gonna pretend I didn't like her.
I'm Buffy. I'm not even gonna pretend. Who the fuck are you?
You are not. Yeah. So I do like just seeing Riley being so serious about patrolling, and like the Scoobies have been doing this longer than he has.
this is a vamp. We're looking for a vampire, okay?
That's like a regular night for them. That's like, yes, Xander's eating chips because it's no big deal to them.
Mm-hmm.
But Riley is so full on. He really is the like his anxious attachment and Spike's are very different. But Riley's is like, I'll just do everything the best. I'll get an A at this, and it's like, that's actually not, you can get an A at the wrong thing if you want.
Right. And like, I think that like was his relationship with Mommy Walsh, right? Like,
Yeah.
he was the A student, and that's kind of, I say this a
At
lot
the
about
wrong task. Very
Right.
military coded.
I've said to a lot of straight lady friends that a lot of straight men want a mommy. They want their like girlfriend, partner, or whatever to be a mommy, and then resent them for being the mommy. And I do think that applies to Riley.
Yeah, that is 40% of the men that on dates.
So I don't know. I like it. And I like the imagery of like, he's munching on the chips and Willow's also munching on the chips. And she's like, I think you're cool. Like, it's a very cute.
With the
Anya
full
being
mouth.
the only, yes, with the full mouth. And Anya being the only one that's like, I think that hand signal means to follow him. And no one else gets it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he eventually goes back there and blows it up. There we go. That's the conclusion of that story.
I'm glad we're doing that now at the
Yes.
at the top of it, because we don't need to be pulled out of,
we
out
don't.
of what
Whatever.
we're going to get into.
So at the Magic Box, Buffy's talking with Giles. They're talking about other Slayers that have met their end, and I do really like
All of them, except me.
Yeah.
It's wonderful lore. Like, I love
Yes.
the lore telling, the history, but like the Watchers just stopped writing in their fucking diaries because it was too much to do. Isn't that their job? They get paid for this, right?
But like, I mean, I don't know
Buffy
how that
don't
works.
get paid. Why? They can't write in their diaries?
Well,
I think it's another like reaction to grief. Like their whole thing is to just be
You're
like,
getting
well, I
paid.
guess that
It's your
was
job.
over.
I don't
It
give
was
a fuck about.
business.
No, you're getting paid.
Well, the other thing too is there's a lot of lore to suggest that the Watcher who follows the Slayer is actually not a very vaunted position. That the idea that if the Slayer power emerged in Africa, colonialism brought it back to England and as an expression of power and control. And the Cruciamentum, where they take away a Slayer power and terrorize them, is also just exercising, is just to show the Slayer that she has no power.
Mm-hmm.
The Watchers can get to her whenever they want to.
Yeah.
And if the Slayer disobeys the way the one we see in this, then there's always another one that is younger, more malleable, and more controlled. So I think
I keep getting older and they stay the same age.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the Watchers Council doesn't hold the Slayer or the Watcher assigned to her in very high regard. And Giles complaining about not getting invited to Watcher parties really holds up that idea of it's an enviable task. And Wesley is so inept,
right,
that it's just and so new that it just shows, of course, that Wesley is not the best the Watchers Council has to offer.
Like Quentin Travers isn't assigning himself a Slayer.
Yeah, exactly. This is not, we think of it as, I mean, because we cherish Buffy, but that's not, it's clear that within the Watchers Council, that's not what the way they see things.
Because you make yourself vulnerable. And I think not only do you make yourself vulnerable physically, like violence wise, because you're always a kidnapped victim.
Well, yeah,
I think,
and replacing the Slayer's parents is a wonderful way of controlling the Slayer,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
manipulating her. So, ugh.
but I think it's not enviable because they're British. And I think like you get emotionally attached, and then this is the burying of the grief is like, what do you want to be, the guy at the party who's crying about our job? Like that
Yeah.
job breaks people. I don't want that job. And it's not that it breaks people. It brings them into touch with like what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
enormity of that is difficult to digest if you've decided not to. And like, I think that that's part of why the Watchers are not writing about this grief, because they're very quick to try to get back into ranks, which means like having no emotions about it and putting it in the British Museum under some glass.
And it's still bullshit, because this is the objective is to always prepare and always have ready the next Slayer. And these journals do a big part of that. Like if Buffy comes to a stopping point in these textbooks that she's got in front of her, that doesn't help her. And now she's seeking out a vampire. That's very against what the Watchers would be stood up to do.
Okay.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
Okay, two things before we. One, my quote for relating it to the Slayers was from Showgirls. There's always someone younger and hungrier coming down those steps.
Taylor Swift out here.
Wait, is that no Showgirls the movie? Like Elizabeth
I know.
Berkley.
I'm making a reference to her inept references to them.
Oh, did you? Oh, and then my other thing, I don't remember what it was.
Well,
But I do like her being like, "Oh, it's unseemly," and Giles being like, "No, it's like emotional and upsetting." Because immediately I know that Giles is thinking about how he would like the way he looks is like, oh, Giles is like thinking like, I probably wouldn't want to write about you dying, like, and he wouldn't.
Yeah.
You
Also,
probably should.
Yeah.
yes. Why is that
it's-
helpful that he wouldn't? I think Giles would, though. I think Giles is the smartest of all the Watchers, and I love him, and I think
Well,
he would
yes.
do it.
Yeah, he would. He just doesn't want to.
well, if you've already taken the next Kendra from her parents,
Mhm.
and you already have control of her in that way, prolonging the life of the Slayer and letting the power maintain with one individual one actually doesn't serve the Watchers
Yeah.
Council that well. Buffy says later in this season, I figured out what this is about. Power. I have it. They don't. This bothers them. So I mean, I think it works. The beautiful thing about it is it works both ways. Yes, Giles it would be dealing with grief and the pain and not want to deal with his English emotions. And on the other hand, there's probably not a great structure in the Watchers Council that says, okay, we need you to file your Slayer just died report.
Your discharge forms, yeah.
yeah, your discharge forms.
So very quickly we go to Spike because they know that Spike has killed 2 Slayers. That's like a thing we've always known about Spike.
Spike always talking about his exes.
He always is. So she goes to pay him and they go to the Bronze, which I love.
They look gorgeous.
They
in this.
both look
This is my
so
little
hot.
frivolous moment. Yes, the lighting is good. They're glowing. The teeth are white, and her hair not a strand out of place.
Nope. It's that season 5 hair. And they both look so hot sitting at this stupid little table in the Bronze. I love what a brat he is. He wants spicy buffalo wings. Like, they don't even fucking eat, but he's like, no, that's what I want. Well, I'm telling you the story.
I want to see you go get them.
Yeah. That really is what it is. I do like were you born this big a pain in the ass? And he says, I've always been this bad. And then the perfect cut to him as William the poet.
Because
Beautiful.
I think this is a date. And I think that's why there's spicy buffalo wings and they're sitting at a table and they're talking about who they really are deep down and lying about it 'cause they're on a date.
Yes.
And so we get to see his like core wound. And I think that's really like, that's why I love the flashback stuff, is because we get to the core of these people when they were frozen in their moment of like trauma.
Sabrina, I think that is why, Zach, you and I both agree on like the angel flashbacks. Because I think they were more just like straightforward, like, hey, look, this was a killing they did back in the day. Yeah. And like Julie Benz is great. Darla's always good to watch on screen. She's fun, but like it doesn't really do much for the lore other than be like, look, here's another person they killed. This is how they did it.
Compare James Marsters doing a flashback to David Boreanaz doing a flashback. It is just so different, and I think the writers treat it differently too. Because when we go into an Angel's flashback, it is always in the moment of an action, right? Like even I don't know when he's losing or when he's gaining a soul. We just cut straight into him running, and he's whimpering and all of that. Whereas like Spike, we're getting this whole setup with the poem and every flashback we get in this episode, and it goes further, season 7 flashbacks of Spike, and they're all like such stellar work, and he plays them so incredibly.
So well, I just love seeing all the references to everything we knew in the show, but just reframing it.
He even got a better wig.
He did.
This episode is money. You can see the money.
Yes.
The other shout out just I wanted to give is like Doug Petrie, who wrote the episode, who was new, if I remember correctly, in the commentary for the episode, says he wrote this in 4 days.
Hell yeah.
And it's one of the best episodes of one of the best shows on television. It is an extraordinary. He said the only way he was able to finish it was James Marsters brought him a pack of Red Bull that a fan had given him, and he was able to just drink Red Bull and stay up all night. I just
love that. I love that so much. Okay, so shout out to him for writing it. Who directed this one as well? I trust
Nick Mark.
Hell yeah. Yes, shout out to Nick Mark too.
Hell yeah, brother.
Absolutely, because the direction is... It's other than the Whedon ones, it's rare to see an episode where the direction really stands out, and that subway sequence is extraordinary.
Yeah, no,
I think there are many episodes this season that I really, really like the direction. It seems more like finished product than experimental or like sort of
more so than any other season.
Yeah. Yes, and there's a lot of motion. I just think
they move the camera. They've moved the camera. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I think that's really nice and special. And I think it fits Buffy really well. And if there had not ever been budget constraints, we would have had some of this feeling through the whole show. But it's really, really, really appreciated here. And I think it speaks to Spike, who's like, thing is that he just keeps on the move. He's like to the next person to be obsessed with, to the next town, to the next identity.
Yes. And I love that. That's, for me, that is what this episode is showing us, right? That it is, like you said, Sabrina, it is the next obsession.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Me too, bitch.
Or defined for me the inability to self-validate. Like it's one or the other.
Look at my text to Sabrina and Zach, and you'll see that's me too.
I use one to avoid the other. It's going great.
Yeah.
We're really cooking.
Here's Sabrina and Ian's mental illnesses. I love that we learned that William the Bloody came from them saying he's a bloody awful poet. The railroads, like, this is so clever. It's such a clever way to reframe lore that we've had for
it's such a payoff.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, and just talk about immediate depth. It's not. There's layers to. It's not only that this was the reality of it. It's that he made up the myth and lied about it, and what that says, with that what that shows without telling about his character is incredible.
Yes. Madonna did that too. So, you always need to craft an origin story.
I'm always thinking about Spike when I see Madonna. Always.
I'm glad the connections are being made.
It's true though.
We meet his love, Cecily. Hey girl, Halfrek.
Hell yeah.
She's pretty awful to him pretty immediately. And I almost kind of like that. I almost like Sabrina, like we keep saying, it's like to show that there wasn't love there. He was obsessed with this woman who barely
knew. It was
knew
total projection.
Yeah. Like she clearly barely knows this guy. It's not like, oh, he's a close friend and she only sees him as, she doesn't like him at all. There's like no connection. And I think that's really a really important difference.
Yeah.
There's also the line that sets up one of my favorite callbacks in the history of all callbacks. I know I'm a bad poet, but I'm a good man, which echoes in the last episode of the season in a way that I don't know if they meant to add so much depth to him, but they did it so poetically and so beautifully.
And at the end of season 5 when he says, I know I'm a monster, but you make me feel like a man.
And that's
oof, so good.
Yeah.
And like, I had Kali Rocha on. She is a fucking delight. I had her on twice. She's like, she was never told one way or the other, but she was like, I feel like they're the same character. And I feel like the fandom has mostly accepted this is Helfrich on a job, right? What do we all think?
I wondered about it, but I didn't really like put it together in that respect.
That's fair.
But that does make sense. And I think that's plausible. I think like for me, Cecily, like that connection is not necessary for me to like feel all the things I'm feeling. And I wish we had gotten that. If that's true, it would have been a really special episode about Helfrich's emotional journey as like this immortal being that hurts men. It's like, girl, tell me about myself. And like, I think that would be cool. But I think ultimately the thing that gets me with Cecily is when she looks at him, she also isn't seeing him the way that he's not seeing her. They're both seeing some like projection that they need to like support the person that they need to be in their own head. And I think the difference when we get to Drusilla is Drusilla sees him. She uses it to abuse and control him, which is just like not great. But it's him trying to find that connection of being seen and seeing somebody that he just seems to not understand, maybe because of his mom, or maybe because of you know, living in the time period when he lived in. I think like he doesn't understand connection, and it's not until Buffy. And in the most, people don't change unless they're uncomfortable. In the most uncomfortable, destructive, fiery inferno he could create, does he finally get to understand what it is. But this is one of many relationships where we see him get a little bit closer. And I think when we get to the Slayers he killed, those are also him in these short, like, flings, trysts for him, getting closer to that thing. Because not to like just cut around. I mean, at some point in these episodes, we just lose the plot. But like, I think he's in the Boxer Rebellion, and I think like when he looks at that Slayer, I think what he's feeling and what he's thinking is like, finally someone sees me as worthy, as having bested them, as being better than them, and like they want something from me and I'm going to deny it just like it was denied to me. And then in the 70s with the other Slayer, he's like, he like steals her identity. Like he becomes her. And he's like, if I am you, I can own all of you and you can't reject me. I get to be that forever. And that also doesn't work. And these, I think, are stages of relationships you go to, especially queer relationships, that I think like he's on a development path. And when he gets to Buffy, he does try to be Buffy. That ending is him trying to embrace parts of Buffy like within himself, but also being like, you changed me in good ways, but you're still you and I'm still me. And like, we don't have to be together for this to have been meaningful. And like, he gets there, right?
Yes.
But Cecily is the first, I mean, unless we want to count his mom, which I think that's different. Cecily's the first woman we see on this journey with him. And like, I don't know. And I think like she thinks she's better than him, but she's just as bad and disgusting a person. Because why would you do this to somebody because they wrote a bad poem? Like,
right.
Like, really? And honestly, I'll pause here while I'm on a rant and say I don't think his poetry is that bad.
It's not.
It made me feel something. And sometimes making up words like "ebulgent" is adorable, and I like it. And I think if he wrote pop songs, he'd be Kesha. And now I'm done.
I love that. So the reason I mentioned that it's like kind of accepted is because I now can't remember what it is, but in the Anya episode, Selfless, in season 7, what is it? What is the time period? I forget now. That like her and Anya, what is like the thing that they call?
Oh gosh.
The Russian Revolution?
The Russian Revolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So originally it was supposed to be something different, but they realized that would have conflicted with the time Cecily met William. So that's why they had to make
I'm glad they took the time.
Yeah. But
it's crazy when they decide to lock in on the lore, and the other times they're like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Sure, vampires sometimes have reflections.
Love it.
So, and she also says that You're Beneath Me, which will be a, theme of the beginning of season 7 until they kind of drop it. He storms out
From beneath you, it
crying.
devours.
Yeah. He storms out crying, and I forgot how well it ties into the Angel Darla episode, because we see the scene
Yeah.
from their point of view, and he's just a guy that bumps into them. But in this, we see it from his point of view, and they're just like people he bumps into.
Mhm.
But in the Darla episode, then Drusilla is like, ooh, I'm going to go get this man. And Sabrina, to your point, I fucking love the way Drew sees him and how it throws him off. And James Marsters plays it so well in the scene, because I love when he seriously is like, you'll not get my purse. There's pickpockets in
Because
London.
he's in the submissive role, and he
Yes.
kind of likes it.
He does.
And I think I just think it's fun.
Yeah, and like Juliet Landau just like kills it here.
Aces.
Everything she says is so perfectly Drusilla sing-songy. I like that she's kind of using her powers to like,
it's
The
also
thrall.
his poem that we all laugh about is about him getting an erection looking at someone. And in this particular scene, it's very subtle, but she grabs his crotch.
I did not even realize that.
You can see when she leans in and he closes his eyes and goes, oh, hello. Oh, hi. And so there's a level of manipulation, and there's not. There's, he's a hard up Englishman. But the thing I love too is, I mentioned the idea that maybe season 1 and season 5 are sort of inversions of each other. Episode 7 of season 1 is Angel, and the Buffy's sort of romantic relationship getting sussed out with him. This is her relationship with Spike getting sort of taken care of. We won't get into that. But the thing I love too is like Sabrina mentioned the way the vampire dies, at least in their 2 greatest examples, is so heavily defining of their characteristics as the vampire that they become. Liam is literally breastfed to death by his metaphor mommy. She drains him and then opens her breast and feeds him. And of course, Angelus is the most Oedipal vampire. It's constant. When he tortures Drusilla, he turns to Darla and says, "Did I do good? Did I do good, mommy?" That moment defines and his father had abandoned him, so that moment
Buffy's got a type.
that moment defines his character. Spike dies erect in pain, so the way
after a breakup and his rebound.
right, so the way that moment for him defines his constant conflation of sex, blood, and violence, and love, all as one singular thing for the rest of the time, is freaking brilliant, and plays out for the rest of the show.
And I think that the vampire metaphor of the abused becoming the abuser cycle is really strong here, and in this episode in particular. And I think like the reason that Drusilla picks him is because she feels safe with him, because she can abuse him the way that Angel abused her, and she doesn't feel safe with Angel. Angel excites her.
Yeah.
And then Spike suddenly becomes the abuser, and Buffy doesn't feel safe with him until, without having to die or become like, she is abused, right? But without having to go through that ultimate violation, even though she does die, but whatever. We're putting this aside for the Spike dynamic.
There's a lot of butts in there.
He doesn't have to kill her.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
Like, he doesn't kill her. But she becomes sort of immune to his cycle. And it's not totally healthy, right? Because like she does go home to the avoidant bench and sits and waits for him to show up. But like she becomes sort of, she sees the cycle for what it is, which is the first sort of step. And I think that that's what makes Drusilla such an ugly character in a fascinating, gorgeous way.
Yeah.
Because she is both victim and like serial killer.
Yeah.
And you kind of, you kind of don't blame her in some ways too, because you can see the abuse on her performed all the time when she's saying these like riddles about astrological signs in the King of Cups. Like you are like, oh wow, this is a broken person, and like it doesn't forgive anything. But I just think it's
It informs.
when you get the four of them in a room, it's just
it's the strongest
inside
when the
out
four
of
of them
Buffy's
are there.
issues.
Yes, yes. And like when it is the four of them, I think also, Zach, that's why you and I had trouble with the season 1 Angel flashback, because it's never the four of them. It's always just Darla and Angel. And Julie Benz can carry a scene, but they would always give him more to do, and he cannot in those flashbacks. So like when it's the four of them, sure. Fine. Yeah.
There's such dynamics with the four of them. Yeah. It's just there's a lot happening just from second to second when there's the four of them. You know, your eyes kind of darting all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you and I can also always find something that's like enjoyable when it's the four of them. So
you want to see your unethical Dom sub polycule.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not defending the accent because I would never. But the other thing too is the angel that we see in all of the flashbacks, which you don't realize watching this one, is ensouled. You know, so we're already on to Broody Angel, which is, you know, so, and Broody Angel is a tedious black hole. You know, he just kind of sucks up the energy of that fun group of comic book superheroes, or comic supervillains.
They should have left him on the side of the road. They should have left him.
Eventually, they do.
Eventually they do. Is it in Becoming or is it in Angel that we do see the flashback to Darla? It might be in the Darla episode when we see Darla switch to her. Like, I really like when she's in charge because Angel got the soul. Yeah. And like we see her do her baby whisper with Spike and Drew and Jealous, but then when she turns to the dude who put the curse, she's like, and you're gonna fucking do that. Like she immediately like code switches, and I love that. I love that like Darla's also using that like baby whisper mommy voice as like to manipulate them.
I think it's implied in the parallel episode is Tim Minear's Darla, written and directed. He directed all of the flashback scenes in this episode. And because they were already filming them, but I think it's implied in the beginning of the episode that she ran a house of ill repute in Virginia. So she was kind of like a house mother already. And again,
tracks. a cat house.
The template for the demon that takes her over is very well seen in that scene where she's taking care of her house employees and then turns to the guy and says, and you're going to do what I say. I love the way that those bits show up in Darla, the way she has to manipulate everyone to control everything behind the scenes.
I mean, I think about in that Angel episode when we see the master go to her on her deathbed and she is not pressed. She's like, oh, are you the devil? Like,
let's get this over
do
with.
Your worst.
What else are you gonna do? Okay.
Sounds like a vacation to me, honey.
If he's a serial killer, then what's the worst that can happen to a girl who's
dying in bed? Like she just doesn't care. Like she's like, okay.
I wouldn't care either. You know.
Oh, the warm blanket of apathy.
What are you gonna do?
Sounds great.
It's not on. I remember. I feel like I've told this story a lot, but like I remember when I went to visit my grandma when she was dying in the hospital and we were watching the news. She was watching the Spanish channel. Pick whatever nonsense, awful bullshit from Trump's first presidency that we were like watching a news report on, and she was like, he's gonna meet the wrong Latino soon and they're gonna kill him. And I was like, Grandma, you can't say that out loud. We are in a hospital, like that's bad. And she was like, what are they gonna do to me? I'm dying.
Exactly.
And I was like,
if you're in a hospital and you're dying, then why not say the thing?
Here's the truth though.
Say it for everybody.
Here's the truth though. You're always dying. Say it now.
I think we just found the theme of season 5.
Oh boy, yeah. So Spike and Buffy are shooting pool. I feel like I didn't realize this, that he tells her, well, I had to get myself a gang. When like that's not what happened. Like Drusilla bit you.
It's the myth. It's the origin story.
But I kind of love that that's the way he frames it, and we see it, that like Angelus can't stand him. Angelus is like choking him. And like I love Darla and Drew in this scene. Darla sings songy, the boys are gonna fight. Like she is like horny for it, right? Like she wants
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Spike is horny for it. Like,
yeah. That's true.
She's like, I got this cup chair pulled right up.
Drusilla sat on my lap. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I think a lot about Julie Benn said that Darla was her favorite character she ever played. And
Yeah.
like, I
can
feel
see
like,
that.
right, I can see that because there's so much depth to Darla. And I love Drusilla saying, the King of Cups expects a picnic, but it's not her birthday. And you see Darla like, what the fuck? And she just goes, good point. Like,
So I tried to look this up, but I didn't have enough time. The episode of Angel where he gets recorporealized, and then the Lindsay sets Spike on the Shanshu prophecy path, and it ends with a big fight between Angel and Spike, and there's a cup with Mountain Dew in it.
oh yeah.
In
Angel season 5.
I was wondering if that is in some way a reference to that line that Drusilla makes, because the Curse of Cups. What I wanted to look up is I couldn't remember the name of the cup in that episode and what it was called and what they were doing. But if that is a reference to this, that is a deep cut. And I kind of love it because she says the King of Cups expects a picnic, but this is not his birthday, which to me means he expects a fight for who's going to drink from the cup, but it's not going to happen here because the fight doesn't happen, but it will eventually in that particular episode. I'm probably reaching, but that's kind of what we're here to do.
I fully believe you, and now that's part of my I'm going to tell people that say it's from my own brain.
Yeah.
Like if that was intentional, that's a hilarious deep cut, and I love it.
Which Angel episode is it? I forget. I don't remember the name of the episode.
I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up afterwards. But it's the one. It's the one that ends in them having a
is it Destiny?
Huge vampire fight. I think it's Destiny. Yeah,
because I just have the wiki up, so I'm actually literally looking it up as we speak.
Well, in tarot, the King of Cups is like an emotionally mature person. That doesn't mean they're not manipulative, but it means like they understand emotions. And I think he thinks he's the main character of this, or he thinks it's all going to go in his favor because like he knows things now, but it's not. You're not the birthday boy. You're just someone who like has mastered this one thing.
It's the Cup of Perpetual Torment.
Cup of Perpetual Torment. That's it. Yeah, it's probably not connected, but in my head,
Perpetual Torment sounds like emotions to me.
Yeah, sure. Like Zach said, I'm just gonna accept that, and we're gonna use that. So we have them have their fight, and I do like that. Angela says something like, "Oh, or the Slayer gets you," and we see Spike say, "What's a Slayer?" And Spike tells Buffy at the fucking pool table, "From then on, I was obsessed." Like he explicitly says that then he was obsessed with Slayers, which like here we are. Like
this is how you get a kink. During a moment of development, you see a foot or something, and then that's that.
Angelus had his hand around his neck, said the word Slayer, and it was.
He says this
he
is
was
it.
He was like, my bisexual amygdala just exploded.
So yeah, and I feel like that's really important that Spike says he was obsessed.
Yes.
Like he's admitting it. There's not like and I goes back to Sabrina, what you said. It's like to him, I do think he does conflate the two, but that is a very important difference, and that is what a lot of his love is just like him being like fully obsessed.
Well, and he also sees like Slayers as being enticed by the darkness, so him throwing it out there. I'm obsessed by Slayers. How does that make you feel? Almost, like what reaction is Buffy going to get out of this?
Well, the show's always drawing a distinction between souled love and unsouled love.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest callback for me is in Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. The spell Giles says to Amy, it's not love. I know it's not love. It's obsession. It's selfish, banal obsession. And is that love? I think, yeah. Like there's too broad a spectrum for what love actually is to limit its definition to, romance and flowers and sacrifice and whatever. And the other one that comes to mind is Drusilla saying, vampires, we can love, just not wisely. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense then that his version of love is because of his conflation of violence and sex, is to try and murder slayers that he's obsessed with. It all sort of, the way that structurally all lines up is incredible.
He makes a mistake lots of people do, which is limerence feels really important and you feel like, oh my God, this is profound. And nobody around you cares because they're like, it's not a good relationship. Like you're just, and I think a lot of people think that their obsession with something makes them special or profound. It's just like fan behavior where at Comic-Con people think that they're the most important person in line to meet Spider-Man. Right. And it's like, you're not. And I think he thinks that his obsessions make him better than other vampires. And that if you fail to have something like that, you, like Drusilla not being obsessed with him is her failure, which is like not true. And like, I think he thinks he's bonding over Buffy over their like shared fixation. But she is terrified. She's not obsessed. She's hijacked into a fight or flight mode. Whereas he is fully romanticizing and in love with the idea of all of this stuff. And he thinks it makes him this like important person and he just doesn't understand why nobody cares. And
that's a really good point.
You care. Yeah. Isn't that enough, my friend?
Well, and in doing the admission of obsession, he's thinking he is manipulating a situation and able to, like, because I'm offering up this little bit of information, I'm manipulating what she's going to feel about it, right? Not realizing that she is like reading it a whole different way, because people do that. Manipulative people do that. They will offer the piece of information that they think is going to give them control over whatever situation they're in.
And I some Spike apologists always think that I am attacking him whenever we get into this conversation. But
Ian,
the thing is, like,
who you telling?
No one is ever exclusively one way or another. The idea that the soul is not there means that he doesn't have choice access to it. He's just sort of impulsively whatever he is in that moment. And he's incredibly perceptive and one of the most emotionally perceptive characters on the show. But the moment of actual vulnerable intimacy in the episode is the last scene.
Yeah.
And to me, like, even I obviously have the characters I identify with are probably like Xander and Riley, which might be why I hate them to the degree that I do, is because I see too much of my own foibles in them. But it's taken me 40 years to realize that one of the greatest things to express in a relationship is curiosity. In conflict, rather than defending your bit or being curious about the other person, curious about their experience, curious about what they're going through. But what does he say to her in the last scene of the episode? What's wrong?
Is there anything I can do?
She says nothing. So he just sits down and does nothing. And he, I don't
even hearing you describe it in your like great voice, I'm like, I'm gonna cry.
He doesn't try to fix anything. He's just like, I'm here. You're not alone. These are your problems.
A perfect parallel to Riley.
What did Riley not do? Exactly. We were talking about that earlier. The even in moments of conflict between two people, if you can be curious about their experience of it, you can access something outside of that bubble of conflict, and that will move you out of it. And it's a skill I'm still struggling to learn myself.
So
we're gonna heal so many people. Mostly Sabrina.
Not my ass.
No, Ian, you're
So I wanted to read this because this was a insanely specific targeted ad I got like months ago for an app, for a therapy app. And it says, why am I obsessed with this person? Waiting for their text, delaying response, overanalyzing non-existent future. You're not obsessed with them. This is not love. This is called preoccupied attachment, chasing closeness but fearing abandonment. If you need help managing these childhood wounds or toxic abandonment, blah, 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 blah.
Talk to this chatbot and take drugs.
Right. And it literally ends with take our 1 minute quiz to find out if that's you. And I'm like, well, this
Cosmo
is me.
Magazine swings in again.
Yeah. And like, I remember the first time I got that, I was like, holy hell, this is like so specific and so me. But also, I think it relates to Spike here too. And like,
I mean, that's why these characters are so relatable. That's why the later seasons are my favorite, is because it's sort of these adult broken characters that have not mended yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and I had just got this as a like you should follow this account, and I didn't follow it, but I reposted a screenshot, and it's a woman saying, which I also was like, Spike could learn to know this, learn to learn this. I don't know. Platonic love is just as important as romantic love. It's valued less by society because we've been taught to keep romance and friendship in separate boxes. But why do believe friendship is less? Friendship can be as deep or romantic as you want it to be because friends can be family. Friends can go out to dinner. Friends can build your lives around each other. And I felt like all of that related a lot to like Spike because he's chasing the like, he needs it to be romantic. He needs it to be, he needs this like connection with Slayers and killing them to be more than just like they're kind of a serial killer. Like he,
I think what it comes down to though, and what Spike is right about, but he thinks is more profound or important than it is, and he's really overestimating the second part, is I think he does not understand the value of those connections because those connections are enough. I do not believe platonic love is a replacement for romantic love. I think that can be cope, but I think you don't need romantic love. You can be okay and have a fulfilling life and be fine. There will be something you feel is missing, and that is horrible, but that's a lot of areas of life. And because it touches people's core wounds, I think it becomes more important to them than like other things they might feel they're missing, like achieving a dream or something like that. But I think Spike is, like you said, anxiously preoccupied with missing this one thing. And this one thing is not available to him because he is engaged with nothing else in his pursuit of this one thing. He was surrounded by friends and he had sex and he had people who were interested in him and he had a purpose. And that still wasn't enough because Drusilla did not see him for who he was and appreciate him for who he was. So now he's on this journey to find that. And it isn't even the thing he needs. And he's dying. Like, as a dead guy, he is dying the whole time he's in Sunnydale. He gets weaker and more faded and blah, 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 until he finally, at his lowest, accepts, after putting himself through tests and hell and workbooks off TikTok, he finally finds the truth of it and becomes friends with Buffy's friends. And like that, let's set aside some stuff that happens after. That is, I think that is his journey. And I think that this sitting on the bench is one of those first steps to being like, I'm not trying to kiss you. I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm so happy to be near you. And like, you don't love me, and that's okay. And like, it only lasts a moment, but it's the realest moment. And then we get it again when she's dead and she's broken and she's back from the dead and she's like, it was heaven. We have that again, that bond between them. And it's the only time he seems to access it. And I don't know if he ever really loves Buffy. And oh my God, everyone's going to kill me.
I know.
I don't think him or Angel ever loved Buffy. I think they had other stuff with Buffy. And I think he confuses this with love. And maybe very at the end of season 7 and when he's hung up on her in season 5 of Angel, like I think maybe that approaches where he could approach her in like a secure way as he's established himself in a separate city with a separate identity, like maybe. But like, I don't know. I think, Ian, you really hit it on the head when you're saying that to him, violence, sex, death, love, romance, rejection, mother, like these are all the same thing because all he sees is his own pain. And when he finally sees somebody else's and has some like level of like empathy or co-regulation or like he thinks Buffy is the second coming and like she is, but like not for that reason.
But not for the reason he thinks. Yeah.
Technically the third.
The third. Yeah.
So we go to the Boxer Rebellion. Spike's fighting the Chinese Slayer who gets this really like, the thing I like season 5 does this a little better than I think we do moving forward, where it like reminds us that yes, we as an audience love Spike, but he also is a fucking serial killer and a murderer, and like
he would have been Jack the Ripper if he hadn't
Yes.
turned into a vampire. You know,
because
It's-
like this Slayer says, "Tell my mother I'm sorry," and
Ugh.
he just says, "Sorry, love, don't speak Chinese," and fucking
Mhm.
kills her.
Oh,
like
Yeah.
that's it. Like
It's
that is
so
not.
cold.
It is not a good person.
do you
who
think
does
he
that.
remembered her saying that and tells Buffy she says that, or because I don't believe him? I think he speaks Chinese.
That's what I always
Ah.
wondered if he did or like he was just being an asshole because it does
Well,
seem like
Because otherwise, why are we seeing it?
regardless, you can infer the kind of thing she's saying.
Right.
And you could
Mhm.
you don't have to fully understand someone's pain to understand that they're in it.
Yeah.
And his immediate reaction is to dismiss it.
Mhm.
And
in her
that
last
is so fucking gross. Yeah.
dying breath to be like, nah, fuck
You're
you.
her only shot at being seen, and she's asking you to see her, and you're like, who?
Yeah.
I
oh,
don't-
wow. Oh,
I don't-
wow.
I think the flashbacks, the way that it's cut, the flashbacks are until the final scene of the episode, until the subway sequence, are representing what happened. Spike is not telling her.
I see what you're
occurred in
saying.
all,
Yes,
all
yes.
of those scenes.
And
So,
then the
Yeah,
turn to
that's
the
true.
camera on the subway. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, we're getting to see what actually happened,
Mhm.
but that it's not what he actually told her.
And
At least
that's
is
true.
my reading.
I
I
think
do wonder if he still remembers
yeah.
anything, though. Like, if it's retained in there, like, at least, even if he doesn't speak Chinese, that he remembers
What she
the
said.
Chinese
Yeah.
words that she said to
Yeah.
him, and he
Yeah.
does, you know. He could put
Yeah.
it through a Google Translate in 2025.
True.
But it's
This
a heart
is why we
crusher
need
regardless.
AI.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Zach's in favor of it. So also this shot is beautiful with all the red and
The
like
effects, the
Yes.
acting, this whole episode was filmed in lip gloss. It's so pretty.
yes,
You know?
I
yes.
think about it all the time. The little hop, like Carrie Bradshaw over over wreckage.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh.
It's wonderful. And it's so effortless, too. The way he hits the ground
His
is so
hair.
effortless. And, you know,
Oh, that's
it's
a doll.
good. It's good
That is a doll.
shit.
And Drusilla looks great when she walks in with all the red behind her. Like and it's fucking hot when he puts his like bloody finger in her mouth, like and she
His
sucks
finger
on
penis.
it. I was like,
I don't know why I was so struck this time by like, oh, that's his. It's his finger penis.
Yeah.
But it's covered in blood. Oh, why didn't I get
Very
that so
phallic
clearly
episode.
before? I am so repressed.
they
Okay.
There's a
fuck.
lot of phallic and sexy stuff happening in this episode, and I feel like I probably missed some of it too. But there's a lot of like sex
Yeah.
on screen.
Because then, like, she's like, they have like their jackets back on, and they look like they just had sex when they meet up with like Angel and Darla. And
They're
I
all
mean,
relaxed too while chaos is going on.
Yeah.
They're like, what about us? Look at
yeah,
us.
no big deal. Oh yeah, there's a fire. Whatever. And to y'all's point, that scene of them like walking together and him jumping over it.
So perfect. It could be replayed over and over and over.
When I had
again.
James Marsters on, he was even like, "Yeah, that looks cool, doesn't it?" Like, I think it looks really cool.
Because
If
it
I was
wasn't even a
James
hop. There
Marsters-
was no hop. It was seriously a walk onto separate surfaces, you know. And
If I was James Marsters, that would be my phone background and it'd be in motion. And every time I picked it up, it'd be me doing the little.
Be like, man, I look fucking cool.
Yeah.
And the Darla episode informs this scene a lot better as to why Angel kind of is not happy with anything happening because, as Ian
God,
said, he has it.
don't even look at his face during that. Okay, during the slow mo, just like
I can remember reading it as he just hated Spike, like before I had seen the Darla
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
I think
That
both
was how I
though. I
read
do think both. Like,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Because they
Well,
think
that's-
Spike and him reflect things in each other that they
Yes,
don't want to
but they don't.
Oh.
Yes.
Spike may not have known that he was sold in that scene.
Yeah.
He may never
He wasn't going to pay attention to that. Yeah,
Spike
Yeah.
doesn't
that wasn't.
care.
That wasn't.
Yeah.
mhm.
To find out the guy you've been sleeping with and it has a soul the whole time.
We then what is it? Then he thinks Angelus is upset and he's like, "Oh, you'll get another one." And he says to her, "The question isn't how I'd win, it's how they'd lose," which is also we're playing on a lot of themes here, but we're also playing into what we will learn is death is her gift theme of the season, right? because he says that like they kind of want it. They kind of want to die, which one sounds really rapey, but also two, I don't think is incorrect.
No, I think they do. I think there is like a death wish in a like imagine if that was put upon you at the age it's put upon you. It's you go through normal life and my fucking I forget I don't have gas in my car and might think that, you know, on a really depressed fucking day, right? Like it can hit you just as a normal person. Having that huge weight of the world put upon your shoulders, of course they have a death wish. Like
the thing that comes to mind is the couch sequence in The Gift, where she's sitting there talking about, I don't know how to live in this world if these are the choices. I think philosophically where the show lands is like the universe is cold, meaningless, and indifferent to our suffering. And meaning, joy is something that ensues and is kindled in, it has to be fought for in every single moment. And that is exhausting.
Yes.
And that's the what, you know, what she's struggling with. The season 1 is about accepting she is going to die. This season is about, why am I living? What am I fighting for? And that moment at the end of the episode in The Gift, where she looks at the sun rising, she expresses joy for the first moment. And I think it's a tough moment to walk. I don't see that as a death wish. I see that as an understanding of what her life is for, what she can, what she's fighting for, what the value of sacrifice is.
Ian, God damn it.
I mean, it's true though, and I think at that moment maybe it's not a death wish, but I do think she is walking around with just this buried sort of death wish. I do think she is, and I think that is in most of the Slayers. Now, having maybe death wish is a little too heavy too, but it's in there, but that doesn't mean she's wanting to die. I think when at the very end, when she does go and she looks at the sunset and stuff, there is an acceptance there, but also she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to leave these people. Yes. I mean, well, she doesn't want to leave Dawn. She's looking at Dawn and telling her these things, and she's, you know, in her mind, she doesn't want to leave her, you know, but this is what the acceptance is.
But
right?
I know what I'm here for. And
And that's a development. That's why this season is so brilliant, because it is the development of that idea. And we finally get to the pinnacle at the end.
It's important to I think to realize that Spike has no access to that without a soul. He has no access, like existentially speaking, choice, meaning ensues through choice and the actions we take from it. And a vampire without a soul has no ability to choose. They're all impulse, they're all hedonism and so forth. So from the outside, Spike is a part of the universe that erodes the will to live. So from his perception, he definitely would see that as a death wish, because that's part of what his existence creates.
It's also a very lazy reading from him, because anybody in her world could get that, could gather that, right? And it's just
that justifies
him
what he's
thinking.
doing.
He's thinking he's being so deep, but he's not. And this doesn't wear on her face. Like she's not taken aback. It's like,
it's whatever it has to be. I mean, him telling the stories of these Slayer deaths it's a very Republican mindset. It's whatever it has to be to protect my ego and the story that I can live with.
Yes. It's one that justifies his not having to change and make a choice.
So one, fuck you, Ian, for making me cry. Two, Emily, I know I'm going to cry at the end of this episode too. Emily Nussbaum said when we recorded the GIF the first time that she saw it both as the heroic act and also as almost like a suicidal act of a Slayer always has a little bit of
it can be a flurry of all of it. Like it truly can. I don't think that she is going into that moment with any singular, like she is accepting it. She's looking into the sunset. She is kind of ready to go, but also she doesn't want to go. She's not looking at Dawn and it's like, I want to go die now. No, she doesn't want to leave Dawn. Like it's just, it's everything. It's everything.
You have to leave your kid. You do. And it sucks. And you're like, I made you and you are me and I want to protect you and I want to be here for everything and I'm going to miss you. But like, time to go to college.
And that is the moment where she would feel anything about this whole death is your gift. Not Spike in an alley telling her all Slayers have a death wish. That means nothing to this woman. Nothing to her.
Yeah.
You know, this was just him jerking himself off and then saying, you're only around because you have friends. Well, and I know it doesn't exist here, but Nikki has a son. She had things to live for, you know? She probably had a mother who was watching after her son while she was off patrolling night after night, you know. Nikki also had, so he's just jerking himself off for the sake of jerking himself off and really knows nothing
Spike has never had friends. Spike has had abusers, and he has had people he's obsessed with. Spike has never had a friend, and he is projecting on her, oh, the reason you're different or the reason you're not like me is because you have friends. No, she has friends because she's not like you. You have it the other way around.
I think
thank you, Zach, for wearing your dead inside hat for talking about how very normal.
I think, yeah, to a point, that's why Spike is the way he is, because even before he was a vampire, he only had his mother. That was all he ever had. And that is the only like genuine love he felt until maybe arguably Buffy season 7 at the end. But I do think.
And he tried to keep her with him an unnatural amount and saw what that results in.
Yes. So yeah, let's move on to the 1977 Nikki Wood. This is so fucking
Should have been a whole fucking episode or a whole TV movie. Like this had the Hulu, you got the show now. You got all of this stuff. Make us a Nikki Wood movie.
I often forget how short this, like, it's wild how iconic this is to the series and how it's like,
yes.
8
so
minutes.
Much so, and I'm glad they recognized it and brought it back.
Yes.
Like, I'm glad we get that lore continued later on.
Like many characters of color on this show, they do not appear for long and they have a huge impact in what would have been possible if we had kept them on the show. I don't know. I don't work for the WB.
I think they were doing, I mean, I know we keep saying this, but like the idea, everything from their outfits to the setting to the way he's moving so differently in this scene versus all the other flashbacks.
It's a dance.
It is, and it's a fucking hot dance. God
He is
damn.
hyped up on some
this whole thing is hot.
Yeah.
Which is, there's always trouble interpreting the show through Spike's perspective, but it is really enticing and easy to do because James Marsters is so charismatic.
He's such a good actor. Yeah.
So well written. But I think that charisma and that kind of enthralling effect is part of the reason why the later events to be not be named in season 6 sneak up on people.
Yeah.
Because that charisma and that is so easy to be seduced by and to be lulled into by. But when you look at kind of the things we're talking about his character, the way that the template that took over, that the demon took over, and all of that, all the signs for all the events in the season were always there. Which is a magic trick in and of itself.
Drew Greenberg even said that like they wanted everyone to remember Spike was bad. He said that they felt the audience was forgetting that, and I do think that's true.
There's just other ways to do it. I still won't ever defend that. I don't think it's the stupidest, laziest way they could have done it.
The execution of that episode aside, the events of the episode itself the execution was terrible, but the events I think are not outside of the realm of possibility with this character.
And I think then the immediate need to redeem him doesn't make a ton of sense, but then I forgive an audience and myself for simply excising the thing that prevents the rest of the series from making.
Because then I have to watch him in the rest of the series.
Right.
And in order to do that, I'm going to have to cope with that however I need to do it. Because I'm not giving up. I'm not going to stop watching it. Season 7's my favorite, and I'm not going to.
So bad psychologically. So bad psychologically.
And I mean, the two of you were around when we were covering season 7, and like that was the biggest thing I had the most trouble with, is because I do like season 7 Spike. I just was like, we don't address the thing, and then we just move on.
It's a TV show, and just sometimes you have to fucking do it. Well, sometimes you just have to be not smart about it.
It happens inside. I mean, we don't have to go to season 6 and 7 to do it. It happens within this episode. He kills Nikki in a gruesome, violent, neck-breaking sequence, and then James's unbelievable ability to generate empathy from us for this character.
Like 2
Buffy
seconds later.
knocks him over and throws
Yeah.
money on him and says, "You're
That's
beneath
crazy.
me." And I feel sorry
Yes.
for him.
Yes.
I get emotions for a moment of like, poor, wait, what the hell's wrong with
And
me?
not only did he break her neck, but he stole her clothes.
And
her
also
identity,
the breaking
yeah.
of the neck. What a wild thing to put on TV, and the way that her body reacts. Like, there's always something about like seeing like horror movies. Love horror movies, right? And I can always watch somebody die in a horror movies because their bodies are not doing a very specific thing your body does when you die, right? Like, I've seen a real death where the body just does something that looks so weird and unnatural, and it happens here. And I'm so crazy. It's crazy they put that on TV. The way her body jerks as he snaps her neck is just fucking wild.
And she's a stunt woman, so it makes more sense that she would be better at like the body movement aspect of acting. But no, I agree, Zach, because it felt more brutal. And we see a lot of neck snaps on this show, but this felt more.
It's always like a.
Also, we were in a lot of motion,
and
then she dies from motion, and then the motion stops.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of, I think that's reflected also in the number of times that Spike pins women down before he kills them, before he chokes them, while he's talking to them. He's always pinning women into place, and there's a lot of motion between us. There's a lot of energy here. And then suddenly I'm stopping it. I'm controlling it. And that is what happens later. And like,
which is, I think that's just why it's so just infuriating for me. And when season 6 does happen and that whole event, because we can already get that from things like this. And like you said, the pinning of them down, like I already get it. I get it. I can infer that.
It's so lazy on a show that turns feeling invisible in high school into being invisible. Like that is an easy-ish metaphor, but it's very effective. And there's a lot to play with there. They just drop the entire premise of the show and they're like, we're going to show you a full-on essay. And it's supernatural because they brought a house down, or like because they're like or because like or the sex isn't violent because they have superpowers and they can heal. And it's like then eventually they show us a real essay scenario, no superpower, no nothing. And I think they think that would have the strength of the real death that happens in the body.
I think
but like it actually doesn't, because it is also unique outside of death. SA in particular, and it may be unique. I don't want to say it's unique among everything, but it's one of the most unique things. Where showing it to me in full is also a violation of me. There's no trigger warning. There's no telling me where these characters are going. I have watched dozens and dozens of hours of learning empathy and wanting to know what's going to happen. And then you show me against me knowing my will, 2 characters I have affection for and empathy for, a real essay scenario, no metaphor, nothing to remove myself. And I don't think it made any point big enough that wasn't already made by episodes like this.
Right here. Already done.
I think that's a really important thing, because I always say
it's a violation.
Jessica Jones is maybe the only show that I think has handled sexual assault, rape in a way that is not too exploitative. And I mean, it's because
I like Veronica Mars for this too, I will also say.
That's true. Yes, I will say that. Like, because I don't need to see it to understand this is terrible for this character, right? We don't need, and I had this, now we're here. I had this,
keep going. Let's go. Okay.
I had this argument with someone who pissed me the fuck off so badly that I started replying from my personal account to tell them what an asshole they were. That I was like, someone was being normal about Spike in my mentions, and we were discussing, I was like, I think it's harder, I'm a Spike girl, but the reason I don't argue is because I understand that can be a breaking point as a viewer. Like I understand if people are like, no, I can't move on from this. I can, because in the lore of the show, I can it's fiction, but I understand why some people can't.
People don't have to. People do not have to,
And that's what we were discussing. I was like, because it's the most on-screen violent sexual attack we see. We hear about them. We don't see them. And then someone came in my mentions and called me a rape apologist and said, oh, so you don't think Faith attacked Xander? You're a rape apologist. And
also terrible. Just come on. Use the brains. Where the brains?
They're all bad.
But that's how those people talk. Yes.
Those people need to sit with Why do I need to have the same exact subjective opinion on this fictional thing as you?
Mhm.
I understand it's a really big topic and you have deep feelings about it, but a lot of the show is if you cannot sit with the like dysregulation of knowing somewhere in the world disagrees with you, that's a thing in here, and
Yeah.
it's going to take you 200 years in a serial
The
killing spree to get to
whataboutism
it.
does not
Like-
work in real life.
It
Yes.
doesn't.
Whataboutism
Well,
does not work in
So
real
they
life.
blocked Slayerfest, and I replied from my personal account to be like, I want you to know I think you're a fucking idiot. And that was what I replied to them.
Good.
Yeah, you
Good.
can have two reactions to these people. You can give them a couple books, or you can say, "Oh, fuck you."
Yeah, it was like, that's it. And then like someone else DM me to be like, I think you were being a little unfair because other characters do sexual assault. And I was like, I'm just saying
Again,
on screen.
we are talking about this thing right now.
Like,
We're talking
yeah,
about this
exactly.
thing right now.
Exactly.
If we when the topic of the other one comes up, we'll also say that.
Yes,
In
and,
that
like,
context.
But it's behavior of like, so what? My boyfriend did that in college.
It is.
So
You're
what?
right. You're right.
Let's start back at the beginning of the.
You're right. It really, and like, that's again why it's a show. And like you said, we don't all have to agree on it. That's fine.
No.
I mean, like,
That's the point.
No one seems to like take responsibility for the way we all bring our own context to the
Yes.
storytelling.
Mhm.
And it should be
Exactly.
so easy to
experience.
just understand that from the get.
Like
I don't
everyone's
understand.
experience is different. Like it's so exhausting. I'm just happy I'm off social media. Thank you for confirming that. Ian.
yeah, you motherfucker. This reminds me of like one time when I was discussing Scream 5 from my Bloody Judy's account. Zach, I think I like sent you these texts and like someone was like, oh, I really hate Scream 5. And I was like, oh, LOL. Yeah, it's like my second favorite. But they were like, I love the originals. I was like, but the first one's still my favorite. And I thought that's a very normal conversation, right? Like, okay, you don't like it. It's
Yeah.
my second favorite. And they
It's a
were
quick
like,
pass.
oh, you must be a child. How stupid are you if you actually like that fifth one? Blah, blah. And like, I was like, what are we, why is that where we go? Like, I was fine with you saying you hated the one I liked because that's, who
Yeah.
cares? Like, I thought
Yeah,
we were
I'm gonna come back again to like, are you keeping a journal? These are thoughts for that.
right. Yes.
There's a voice notes app.
Yeah.
Here,
So he does go to kiss her, right? When
Yes.
they're
Yes.
like, okay. Because this time around, I was like, wait, because she kind of is like, what are you doing? And then we breeze past it.
Because he's like, I've shown you all of myself that I am comfortable showing. You have to accept me now. And it's like, this is essay stuff too.
And she doesn't really feel any different about him by the end of this.
Because it's
I
that
know, of
thing
course
of
not.
the manipulator being like,
She's
I
more
told you something
horrified.
important about me, the
Yes.
obsession. I've told you about yourself.
Yes.
And you should now feel that we have connected,
We're
and
special, and this
we have
is
shared a
destined.
cigarette.
And I owe, and you owe me. And it's like, she owes you $20 and some hot wings.
Right, yes.
I owe
What she
you.
promised you, yeah.
She should still
Yeah.
get him the hot wings. I don't
I
believe
agree.
we saw that.
I deserve hot wings for having watched all of season 6.
But Ian, to your point though, I still feel bad when she's like, "You're beneath me," and she says the same fucking thing.
Yeah, of
Sesame
course.
said to
Because we
him,
all feel that.
Yeah.
and like
Well,
that
it's
is
the
what the
moment-
show does so well, right?
It's the moment where William comes out.
Yes.
Spike, the
Yeah.
facade that is Spike melts away, and so with vampires especially, there's all these multiple characters that especially Angelus has like 50 different
Right,
identities,
right.
but there's all these separate identities that you're seeing at once, and it's easy to forget who just told you all of those stories.
Yeah.
But William is still there, and you see William at bottom in that particular moment, feeling shame and humiliated, and she humiliates him. He deserves it. He 100% deserves it, and it triggers that empathy and feeling of, oh, poor
Yeah.
Spike.
Which
I hate that reaction in myself. I hate it.
It's the tweet, and every girl's like had an event, which is like, this man destroyed my life. But he was a little boy once, and I don't remember it, but I could picture it. And it's like, that is immaterial to what just happened.
I just feel like I could fix him.
Yeah, exactly. But at his core, he's still a little boy, and little boys are blameless for what they do. So in some sense, isn't he?
And
It's
for the
like,
rest of the
no.
episode, it is that flip flop, right?
And
He
the
does a
other-
terrible
the-
thing. We feel bad for him. He does a terrible thing because remember, again, in showing how bad Spike is, really use your brains because he goes to his crypt, grabs a shotgun and a gun, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a lot heavier than
Yeah.
Symbol,
just
yeah,
your
it's a
steak
symbol.
or anything. That he's going to blow
He's
her
breaking
head
the show's
off.
convention.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
and that's a lot more violent, a lot more real, and then right after that, it's
Spike.
he's that
Yeah,
on the
He puts it
porch.
down immediately because he puts it down immediately, and he's like, "I remember the show I'm in.
I had
Let's
to
sit on
remember,
Joyce's
I had to
porch."
remember, does she see the gun? And yes, she fully looks at the gun and looks at his face, right? Like,
I also
Yeah.
I love too that one of my favorite Angel episodes is Damage, where that actually grapples with the cycle of abuse and that everyone was a victim at some point to someone else, and it doesn't justify your actions.
Yeah, what do you do with it?
Yeah. What you do with it matters. She's an innocent victim. So were we once upon a time. Once upon a time.
I mean, it goes to our girl, Sydney Prescott, Zach, how like she
Oh,
took her
goodness.
trauma and she became a call center, a crisis center hotline worker and like wanted to help people because she could understand people going through like trauma and whatever. She's someone who could be like, yes, this is terrible. Yes. Oh, yeah. Like,
she deserves to
And
kill
what
anybody
does
she
Buffy
wants.
become? What does Buffy become?
School
School
counselor.
counselor.
Yeah.
Yep. And those that make
I
sense.
do, and I never hate that sort of tropiness of like a returning character becoming a counselor or
No.
something.
Yeah, I
I
don't
always think it
either.
works. That's beautiful.
Life.
Yeah.
That is what you should be doing. That is what you should. When you go to the mountain and you do your ayahuasca trip and you have your ego death and you look at your inner child in the mirror and you find out that it's the devil and then you go through that, like that whole point of all of that is to go back and model behavior for people still on that journey so that they have a reference point for what somebody like that like looks like. And Spike exists halfway on that journey, desperate to be seen as a finished product.
Yep.
And it's hard because Buffy's trying to figure out what a finished product is. And I think at the end of the episode, the reason she feels safe with him is she once again is in a place where she's like, oh, I understand you completely. You're not going to shoot me. I know everything about you. And he actually loves that. He's actually like, oh, yeah.
But also, before he even gets there, we see the scene of him and Drew breaking up, which I love.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I love that goofy fucking demon with the goo on his antlers.
That we finally get to see. It's always nice when they bring
Yeah.
that back, right?
And it's the most like coherent we see Drusilla speak to him almost.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she's very direct. She's like, you are obsessed with the Slayer. And
Just like Cecily had to be. Like, he's a pest. He's a
Well,
pest.
she's like, you broke the agreement we had here, which was this was transactional and we would perform some of the trappings of love and we would have sex with each other. And you stopped doing that. So someone else will do it. And it's not really attached to you doing it.
Yeah.
And like that to him is the ultimate rejection. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like she fucked Angel. She could have fucked a million different guys and demons.
no, you're
It's
right.
the fact that she just doesn't, he's replaceable. That it's the abandonment wound once again. And I think it's really funny that guy on the outside of it is like, this is a whole thing.
I didn't know she was with somebody.
Yeah, like, whoa, I just thought I was getting some strange from a crazy girl. I don't got all that.
I do love that he's like this like demon with giant horns. He's like, all right, guys, you got something.
Again, phallic, dripping horns.
I'm gonna go.
And she says that she looks at him and all she sees is her, which a lot of people interpret as, see, look, he was in love with her, but we just learned earlier in this episode that he gets obsessed with Slayers. So it tracks, right? Like it just does from everything we've learned. I would be curious. I don't know if we've ever like learned this in a line of dialogue where Drusilla was when he killed Nikki Wood.
They just like trips.
I could
She
come
was
up with something for
anywhere.
you.
A cruise.
She was at Studio 54. And she was
would
talking
be.
to a child Drew Barrymore.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
doing coke.
Most definitely.
Child.
God.
And she was talking in riddles, and Drew was like, love that. I'm going to make a whole talk show out of it.
Yeah, talking really close to her in riddles.
Beautiful.
I think that's really special.
Yeah, me too.
And
Yeah.
I've always said that.
So yes, we get the end of, season 5, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I've cried a couple episodes already just from where we are because of like everything with my mom and like seeing Buffy watch her mom and her mom try to like play it off.
Was her mom going to fucking tell anybody? Was she going to let anybody know
I
that
was
she
also wondering that. I was like,
was
Yeah, I got that this
gone?
time too. Like, you're just gonna sneak out of the house? What is happening in this
if
scene?
Buffy hadn't seen her, she
I'll
would've-
excuse the tumor for this, but that was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also think she should have called Giles and said, "Can you come stay at the house?
I
have to
wish
tell
we
you
got
something's
more of
going
that.
on."
I wish we had more of that of her
The co-parenting.
because we've already seen their connection and that they
Yes.
do
Yeah.
have that and
Yeah.
it works. It works. And I wish, again, the co-parent.
And
I
if
wish
Buffy
we had
and
gotten
Dawn's
more of
dad isn't
that.
going to answer, if Hank isn't going to answer the phone and be that
Yeah.
person, it is the healthy, secure person's thing to do, to say, like, there are other people in my life. There are other, and her mom is doing exactly the problem that she does, which is like,
Yeah.
right, I'm going to shut down caring about it, and I'm just going to keep going, and I have
Mhm.
my armor, and I'll do it alone.
And I'll
it's
joke
like,
my way through it.
no, sister.
Yes. But you are right, Sabrina. That tracks with like that's how Buffy is. Like
Yeah.
Buffy gets it
she
from
is
her
a
mom.
At least it's
generally
consistent.
secure
Yeah.
person who opts into shutting down emotionally as like a method, but it's not her core. Like, I don't think that that's who she is.
Yeah.
But I think she uses it as a tool a lot because it's the only thing that's been shown to her, is the only thing. And her friends exist to like slowly teach her to do something else. But it's like not in her nature the way
Yeah.
that like it is in the nature of other characters. Riley is immediately overperforming, overconnecting, overcompensating, which is
And
its own
say
problem.
what you want about him, but it's his way of jumping into some sort of action, right? And
Yeah.
I would rather maybe have that, somebody who maybe would overextend themselves, than Joyce, who's not even going to tell me that she
Yeah.
where's my mother tonight? I think she was sick, right?
Oh,
like, but
well,
she's not here, and the
packed the
conditioner
bag.
under the sink is missing.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about people that always overcompensate is they can eventually be directed to overdoing, but doing the work on themselves,
Mhm.
right? Because they want to put in effort. They're trying to take this on.
I
And
won't even get on my soapbox, but I think Riley got bitter. Okay.
I think you can get better if you're that person. I do. But I think it's hard to do that when you shut down completely. And that's who
Yeah.
Spike is. Spike has shut down every time he's come to these moments. He's like, I'm the bad A.
One thing I
Yes.
always think about with this show is that a show that models theme and psychology as much as this show attempts to. First of all, being about 22-year-olds or 21-year-olds at this point,
I always say it.
and being written by people in their early 30s. You
Yeah.
know, like
And now we only get it because we're older than that age.
yeah, exactly. Like the fact that it's this close or this successful is to me a miracle. I look at where I was at 31, 32, just drinking my mind out and
And drinking
failing in
blood.
relationships. Yeah, failing in relationships and all of that. Like, there's no way in hell I could have conjured something this close, to a model of potentially healthy.
Yeah.
Like, especially if healthy is a journey, not a destination. To see characters that are on the road of healthy, to be moving in that general direction, I think is
Which,
wonderful. But I also
again,
like, you hear about Marty saying like the events that will not be named were personal events of hers and all of that. Like, the amount of processing yet to be done, and yet you're writing this show and trying to cathart your own life experiences through these characters that you love and cherish. Like, it's an unbelievable undertaking, and flawed or not, they still wrote one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, just as a let's zoom out. I know we've been going for a while, but let's zoom out a little. I want to ask, who does anyone here think is the most close to healed of the characters on Buffy?
At
I
this
will go
point,
first.
Yeah.
At this point, just in their journey, who do you think
Okay.
gets the closest? And I do think it's Tara.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think she gets the closest to what modeling like real, like when she says to Willow, "This is over now," like that, and then she's like, Willow starts to do the work, and she's like, "Okay, we can like slowly." Like, I think like that is her getting to the closest you get in that process, and like.
And you see her
We have to
not
kill
judge
her.
Buffy, and you see her friendship with Buffy feels very adult. It feels mature. When
Yes.
she like lets Buffy cry on her lap, and she just kind of like,
Tell me I'm bad. Tell me I'm wrong. Which Xander had done in Into the Woods.
Yeah.
Is that like her friends do that to her all the time? Tell her that, punish her
Lie to
for
me.
her mistakes. Yeah, and Tara refuses to.
And I think that's really important to your point, Sabrina, of being correct.
Yeah.
That Tara is so good when she does whatever thing they have her do to do the readings. And she's like, oh, honey, like she's so tender with Buffy in a way that we don't see anyone else. She's tender, not trying to fuck her like Spike is when he's tender. She's not judging the way Willow and Xander. I don't like the reframing of everyone's a bad friend. They're just all flawed people.
Yeah.
Hey, except Cordelia. Cordelia was always a true blue.
She
And
was.
I think she's the second most healed, and that's why we had to bump them both off.
That's what
we
they had
can't
to
have
kill.
none of that around
Yep.
here.
Can't have healthy, healed women.
No.
And I do think that's correct. I would say of the main cast, by the end, I would say Willow, maybe, of like the main cast.
By the end, yeah, the end of the people
Gosh,
left.
it's such like a deep question that I can't come up with in such a quick amount of time.
One of my favorite moments is when Anya and Xander sleep together again in season 7, and they just kind of go, "Well, that felt like the end. That felt like goodbye." And they feel like to be able to let a relationship go without hating each other. I
just don't buy that. Yeah,
to like.
I think one of them.
I
don't know. I think one of them still has like a very attached mindset.
Well, either way, that moment always stands out to me as motion. Like we talk about healthy as a journey, like them being in motion on that road of self-discovery and all of that. I think that stands out to me as a moment of like two of the characters that maybe struggled the most with personal change during the show, expressing it in that moment, which I love.
I do think no one crucify me who's listening. Season 7 Xander is a way big improvement from season 6 Xander.
Of course, he doesn't have to deal with this shit. He just gets to move on.
I feel like they did a good job. You are right. It's mostly just like they're writing him better now and not to be an asshole, and there's no like journey. But because season 6, watching it, I like hated him. Like, that's the only time that I hated him. When I'm going to
need you to stop talking because we're going to talk about Dawn. And I'm going to nail you to a cross. Okay?
Dawn also gets written so well in season 7. Like I think they do a good job of like maturing the characters in season 7. But so I was going to say, all of these scenes with Joyce and Buffy that we get coming up remind me like of everything with my mom. Like all I kept thinking of was my mom very casually tried to tell me when she had the same thing that killed her mother. And my like I had just finished a workout in my living room on fucking Zoom. I'm like sweating on the floor and they like just got back and my mom like mentions it. And I was like, wait, what? And I'm like sweaty on the floor in workout clothes. And so I went upstairs and I remember sitting with her on her bed and her like telling me. And I was like, I know what that means. And crying and saying, like, I don't want you to leave me with these stupid men. And she was like, don't make me cry. And she like held my hand and she told me to shut the hell up. And we both cried and she held my hand. And like every fucking thing with Buffy and Joyce breaks my heart in this season. And it did before, right? Like before I had a dead mom, it broke my heart because it was still sad and the acting is so good. But like I really... in Buffy being like, yeah, we'll be fine. And she's crying. I was just talking about this with Laz Marquez recently. How when you're taking care of your mom, often, and Zach, you would get these texts all the time. I would put my mom to bed. I would tuck her in. I would get all of her shit situated. And then I'd go sit in my room and cry, right? Because you don't want to make it worse for the person who's sick, but also you're miserable. And like Buffy needing to go outside to cry, I just was like, oh, girl, you're going to have such a bad year. And
she had a good back porch to cry on, too.
She did. And I again, have trouble with my feelings of Spike because I also know how important that is when you're going through shit like this. That's like, I don't want to talk about it again. I want to be able to just like...
I also don't need advice on this.
I need no advice.
It's just for me. It's just for me.
Yeah. And like, and so like, I don't know, that's like really important. And so it makes me, then my feelings of Spike get so like balled up in like a confusing things because this is when he does do the right thing. He asks her if there's anything he can do. And she just kind of looks away, and he knows that means no, and he just sits with her. And like, I do think too, like, Willow and Giles would have been able to do that too. Willow might have talked a little bit too much, but not in a bad way.
And Giles would have been giving advice
Mhm.
because he can't help but try.
Yeah.
And it's not helpful.
Yeah, like, oh, do I have like
You
spit
can't
on
give
my
advice
nose?
for certain things.
I feel like
I mean,
'cause I was-
she's begging Spike the whole episode to give her the answers. Not only does he not have them, nobody can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like from crying, I like spit all over my mouth.
Oh.
But like, yes, and I, to Zach's credit, when my mom died, like we sat on Zoom, and he was like, "Do you want to talk about it?" And I said, "Nope," and we did not talk about it. We watched a stupid zombie movie and made fun of it, and it was like, that is shit that you do need, and so it is funny that often Spike is the one who understands that part.
He's
not
incredibly emotionally perceptive.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't mean to spoil
For someone with
Hello
both.
here. I don't think he's that perceptive. I think that is sort of his default already. I think had she been like, actually, I would like to talk about it. Can you please talk to me about it? I don't think he would have known how to do that. But I think because this is an easier sort of like default for him to do, that was just the easy thing that he could do, is just sit there and do nothing. But I don't think that was a very like intentional, I understand that this is what you need right now. I don't think I see that. I don't see it from him.
I think he can only see emotions he currently is feeling too. I think like, or that have been big themes for him. And I think it's not so, it's pattern recognition more than it is like a genuine ability to empathize with other people. And that is the beginning of that. But you have to like, there's a lot more development that happens. And I think he sees her in that moment and he's like, I know how that feels. So I know what you want and I want to be what you want. And that's so much closer.
Yeah.
I would just define it as weaponized empathy. Like he throughout the show knows where to poke Buffy. So he let Parker take a poke, when he's chained in the bathtub. Are you kidding? She's hanging on by a thread. And then he can see that to Giles and Buffy when they're talking about Willow. Like over and over and over again, he reads the emotion, even the ability to manipulate in Doomed Xander and Willow with you're her groupies. It requires the ability to perceive and understand the emotions that they're dealing with.
I completely agree with you. I do think it was, even if it wasn't him in the moment processing, I'm weaponizing this empathy, it is what he was doing, because that is how he is programmed. He knows how to do. That's him.
Right.
That's him.
Yeah. I now I'm going to sound like people that get mad at me online. I will push back and say, normally I do think all of those examples it was the case. I think this is the one time it is not. I think this is one of the only times it is not, but I do think it's genuine.
Yeah, I don't think it's weaponized.
I don't think
here.
those people. No, I do think it's weaponized here. But
Okay.
I just don't think that he is intentionally weaponizing it. I think it is just happening. Those people don't just turn that off all of a sudden. It's always there until they do that work on themselves. And he has not done any work on himself.
No, but to your point,
sometimes things align, I think, is what we're saying. Like, I think you're both right. Sometimes what you're able to offer is what somebody needs, and you offer it for reasons they might not want you to offer it for, but it doesn't come up, and it can be a nice moment. And maybe both of you are unaware that this is happening.
His empathy for her gets him what he wants in this scene, which is intimacy in that scene between the two of them. Like, the fact that is selfish doesn't negate the fact that it's a beautiful moment of vulnerability and intimacy between these two characters. I'm just saying Spike is pure impulse, not choice, right? And so if this is what he wants in this particular moment versus wanting to manipulate versus whatever, empathy is a tool in his toolbox to just get him what he wants. And the counter argument is he walked into this scene with a shotgun.
Yeah, that's
a strong
counter
argument.
And in an obsessive mind, right? Like, I don't think he's sitting there next to her and thinking, I feel bad for her, I hope she's okay, stuff like that. I think he is like, then with the limerence, right? Then creating the scenarios that come after that. We've connected now, and like that just happens with people like that. It just does. And again, this is my reading, so everybody else, leave me alone. But this is how I read him. I think it is just a very natural sort of like inset instinct for him to do that. And I think it's very possible that in the future he could have brought this up. Well, I did this for you, in an impulse moment for him. I don't know. It's just that's again just the way I'm reading that.
I don't know. Because I don't think he gets anything out of this. I don't think he gets what he ultimately wants, which is either to kill her or fuck her. Out of any of this scene,
but is that really what he wants?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. I think what he wants, and he doesn't know what it is, and he doesn't know he's getting it, but he has it in that moment, and he feels something, which is he wants connection. It is the guys who hurt everyone who gets close to them. But why do they keep dating? Because they want that feeling that you get when that fleeting moment, it aligns. Whatever the shit you're doing for whatever reason aligns with those two people, and you get that into me see. And I think he, for 1 second, feels the connection and the being seen and seeing somebody and being on the same page and feeling the same emotion. And like, he wants that his whole life. I don't think he actually wants to kill or fuck Buffy. I think he wants something from Buffy, and those are the biggest things he can think of, and he feels really strongly about her. So that's where his mind goes because it's all he knows. But like, I think in these moments, the reason she knows he has a gun and he's just going to put it down is she knows she has what he wants. and it's to sit there and she's going to let him. And like, is she being manipulative too?
I think so. I mean, like possibly, right? Because like, I also think she doesn't need him to sit there quietly with her.
No,
she would just rather do it by herself anyway, right? But like, she's also not going to outpour the energy to tell him to fucking go.
No, I don't
just go.
No, I think that's no. Buffy did need someone to sit with her. I think that's fully incorrect. I think she would tell him to fuck off. I think she tells him to fuck off every episode this season.
But she's going through an emotional battle right this moment, right? And that's sometimes you're too energy spent to then tell somebody to fuck off.
I just am telling you when like
I fully see what you're saying. I fully get what you're saying.
I think both interpretations work. It's just however.
I don't think I can see what y'all are saying. Like Spike, maybe I'm more with you, Sabrina, where like Spike doesn't know what he wants, and it's just like this is an impulse, sure. But I think, I don't know. I feel like the gist of what we're saying is like a lot of therapy speak to be like, this is what people do. I don't know. Cause I feel like to say, I just feel like it feels disingenuous to call this scene manipulative on either end, because this is someone who is grieving, knowing her mom is sick. She doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't quite know how serious it is, but she understands that if her mom is downplaying it is serious. She understands there is something capital S serious about it, right? I don't even think we know.
Which is in and of itself so screwed up to be like, well, I only know it's serious when my mom pretends it's not. It's like, oh.
Right. But like, when my mom was dying, my aunt, her sister, when we went to the hospital, she was like, your mom's really dramatic. I kind of thought she was exaggerating every time she said, I'm probably going to die soon, because she said it so casually and she always exaggerated everything. And I was like, I kind of get that, Titi Letty. Like, I like actually did understand that she like hadn't come down a lot because she just assumed my mom was exaggerating because my mom was known to exaggerate. So I feel like Buffy understands that it's serious because her mom is downplaying it. And Spike just knows Buffy is having an emotion, and Spike does feel bad. I think that like at the like base level, there's not a diagnosis there of like, this is manipulative. This is, this.
When you're watching it, it's what's on screen is exactly that. And I think it's when you come into it as a person with your own sort of projection that you're going to put onto it is when you're going to pull something different out of it. Right. But like exactly what you're describing is exactly what we're watching there. Like, that's just that, there's no like.
He doesn't know. He also doesn't know what's going on with her.
Yeah.
He can just decide it's about him or about boys or about dying or whatever he understands.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that as like him reading that as her reaction to everything that he told her. The idea that she's in that moment fearing her own death or fearing that she's going to die at some point because of everything that he just said about the Slayers. But the other thing that I'm curious about is the desire to invalidate the beauty of that scene for its motivations, right? Like Romeo and Juliet is a teenage dying star implosion relationship. It is not a model of something healthy,
right?
But there's tons of beautiful sequences in that romance and that relationship. Like, the fact that whatever the motivations or whatever damage brought those two people to that scene at the end of that episode, I still think it's gorgeous. I
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
It is. It's one
we're
of the best shots of them two sitting on the
which is
porch.
true
It's
in
one of the
so
best
many
shots of the
relationships.
series.
exactly, and therein lies season 6 and Buffy and Spike's relationship is like I can love a toxic
Mhm.
I can find romance and beauty and find it hot, this toxic relationship, and still not need it to be a model for like
Right,
living.
right.
It's
Yeah.
not something
Yeah.
I want in my life, but I can still
Well,
look at
hopefully
that and be
nobody's
I
like,
think
watching
most
Buffy the Vampire
people-
Slayer looking for it to be.
Wow.
well,
I
you'd be
did.
surprised.
I would like to fuck a
I
house
did.
down.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
I think also it's something you can say about a lot of friendships and most people relationships, that it was real, it was beautiful, it wasn't healthy, and it
Mhm.
has to be over or it has to end.
Yes.
And I think those are hard to all hold at once. I still struggle with it, you know?
Yeah, through a lens of the show complete, like I neither validate or invalidate that scene. Like we can they are on a journey, and that's what both those characters are capable of in that
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah.
And that is valid. That is their authenticity. That is the authenticity that those two are capable of right then and there. Right. But we look at this thing complete. We look at it as a whole and complete piece of art, season 1 through season 7. And there's a temptation to evaluate it from that distance as opposed to in that moment and what those two characters were bringing to it just right then and there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so
It is so pretty
What do
though.
you
Like
rate
I
the
like just
episode?
to your point, it is beautiful, and like sometimes you can't just like I'm projecting my own shit onto it because I have to come and talk about it on this episode, right? But I'm
Right,
not
yeah.
watching it in my everyday life, thinking about Spike's
I
motivations.
cried.
There. I'm taking it for the beauty that it is. And it's nice. You know what beats
Yeah.
this just for me was him laying with her in the bed in season 7. Like I really love that.
I want to say before we close, two real quick things I forgot to mention. One is he says in this episode, that was the greatest day of my life, and I've had some sweet ones. And the next time he says it was the greatest day of his life was holding Buffy in bed in End of Days.
It's
And
beautiful. It's nice.
The whole idea of curiosity and the selfish love versus whatever is, I return to Spike's model of it in season 7 and in End of Days all the time, or not End of Days, whichever the one is where Buffy gets kicked out, where he says it has nothing to do with me. I love what you are, how you try. He gets out of the way of his own love. He doesn't need her to validate him in that moment. He's self-validating and just seeing and acknowledging her. I mean, there's other arguments about maybe putting her on a pedestal or whatever, but nonetheless, it's like that's part of Spike's journey between this scene and that. And I love the
and in this
continuity
one,
of
when
all of
he's
that.
doing that, when he is looking at her and like, if we're going with that reading that he's just empathizing with her and seeing that she's, somebody he cares about in distress, and he's going to just sit with her. Really, really interesting parallel to him holding, the Chinese Slayer and looking her in the eyes and just completely invalidating that whole, please tell my mother or whatever. Somebody's last words are so important, right?
Right.
Like that's huge. That's heavy, and it's just really, really interesting. Sort
I mean,
of parallel
with
from
Nikki
that
too.
to
He kills
this.
Nikki and then he rips her coat off. It's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. He's an interesting one. See, fuck Angel, man. He didn't have this depth.
It's
he
a
got
lot.
a hold of that show.
Angel's just a loser ex. That's all Angel is. We don't need to analyze it. That
Exactly.
guy just sucks.
See,
Bad wigs.
Anytime so Kali Rocha, when we interviewed her, me and Anthony Oliveira did, she called those the wigs crispy. She said they were very crispy wigs.
Crunchy. They're crunchy wigs.
But I think I forgot what I was going to say before that. There was something.
I don't know. We can wrap
You're
it up
a
because
fool for love.
I could have kept talking about this one for another 2 hours.
I know.
me too.
I know.
I know.
So there's a lot of trivia for this episode, but a lot of it is stuff we kind of already discussed. How this is a callback to this. This is a callback to this. So I don't need to read those, but the denim jumpsuit Harmony is wearing in her scene is the exact same jumpsuit that Cordelia wears when she gets caught in Pylea, which is so weird.
That's nice.
Yeah.
She borrowed it. She was like, "Girl, could you just mail it?
Yeah.
It's mine.
Yeah. It's mine, so you just give it back.
I just need it back. I mean, I don't care. Like, kill whoever you want. It was juicy.
Doug Petrie in the commentary for this episode said that they had a whole monologue for Joyce where she's talking to Buffy, and his quote was, "It was absolutely awful. It was just this giant neon sign saying I'm going to die, so we cut it." Which I do think this
Smart.
works better. Her just being
Keep
like, "Oh,
Joyce
just again."
exactly on track. Like, don't change her now.
Yeah.
You know.
The actress who plays the Chinese Slayer, Ming Qi, comes back in the final episode Chosen and plays one of the newly activated Slayers.
As she should.
I love
Good.
that.
Cool.
Good.
I love that.
I
I
didn't
kind of
know
wish I kind of wish they had brought back the woman who plays Nikki too, as since they recast her. Like, just let her
I like
play.
the new casting of Nikki though.
No, I do, and I get this is a stunt. This is a stunt performer. Maybe the acting wasn't there.
No, I thought the acting was great. But
why are we always replacing actors of color? I don't know about this one.
But so that's all the trivia. Favorite outfit, Ian?
Willow looking like she's about to go to a Weezer concert with that knit sweater and the hat kind of pulled down over her eyes like she's about to play hacky sack, and the bag of chips.
Gorgeous. I never
Gorgeous.
wore a hat like that to go see Weezer. Thank you. Zach?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like the easy one is Spike in the subway, right? But yeah, I'll go with that one, Spike in the subway.
Sabrina?
It's the Chinese Slayer. She's gorgeously decked out, and the fact that you'd wear that in a fight is bold, bitch.
And
that all Slayers wearing impractical outfits that look cute.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to.
Hell
I don't want
yeah.
to see practical.
Yeah, no.
No.
I remember when the comics, the first issue, put Buffy in tactical gear, and I was like, oh.
I did like the tactical gear, honestly. I did. It was nice, and
But it's
I
like,
like to think it wasn't real. It was from Shein, and she was just like, "This is the look, outfit of the day, tactical Shein."
It's like us pretending to be.
It's what Xander ordered for the group.
It's everyone wearing those camo Chapel Roan hats and being like, you live in Bushwick.
I told Zach this when I went to, I don't even remember when the fuck it was, maybe the summer. I go to Michael's a lot for like the photos I take. They had like pink cowboy hats and like things that were like pink and glittery and said howdy howdy on them, and I was like, I should buy this for us to wear for My Bloody Judy, and you were like, Ian, we will wear that all once and never again. But it was like me, the idea, like, well, Zach wears a cowboy hat, so what if we got cute pink ones? It said howdy howdy on them, and like, because I'm that girl that you just mentioned, Sabrina. And everyone,
we love you for it, sister.
Thank you. And everyone, what is Ian's favorite outfit?
The vampire at the beginning.
Nikki Wood.
Punk Spike.
Billy Idol.
I told James that was a very important.
What's the difference between favorite outfit and trying to be that person? Let's get back to the Nikki Wood scene.
Fuck you, you're not incorrect. I remember telling him that was like a very important sexual coming of age, and that Spike was the only man me and my mother agreed on. And I was so mad I had cut this because it was when we used to record on Skype, and there was like a loud static noise when he said, well, you and your mother have good taste. And I was like, oh, I love you. Yeah. Favorite scene, Zach?
Nikki Wood, always
Yeah.
great choreography, and just anytime she's on screen, which is what is it 2 scenes? Is it just 2 scenes?
Yeah.
Well, she's, in my memory, she's in all the seasons. Wonderful. I love Nikki Wood, 10, 10, 10, Ace Plus, all that.
Ian?
Yeah, the subway. The matched action cuts where Spike jumps out of one shot and into the other are incredible. It adds to that feeling of a dance.
Yeah.
The fact that set's incredible. It's not moving. It's a static thing, and they're just doing it with lights around the outside. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. It's just a production effect. Like that whole sequence is unbelievable, down to when he's talking to her on his knees as Billy Idol, and the second that happens, clap. Cut back to him in present time. Chills every single time.
Yeah, it's good.
Sabrina?
I think that is the best scene, but I think my favorite scene is "You're beneath me." hasn't wanted that moment? Oh.
My favorite is actually a tie between the Nikki Wood fight and that very end. I'm ride or die for that end. It's maybe
Pick
my
one.
favorite
It's
Spike
a great scene.
and Buffy moment. But I love Punch Spike so much, and no one has ever looked hotter on screen to me than James.
And I know
Marsden.
that's the most important thing to you in a scene.
What grade do we give this episode? We're all probably going to agree. I love when we all agree. Ian, what grade do you give this episode?
A+, perfect 10.
Sabrina with the hammer.
A+. And if anybody says otherwise,
Zach.
That's a very tiny hammer.
How dare
you should see the damage I'm going to voice with my tiny hammer.
A+, obviously. My only gripe is that like we could have taken the Riley minutes and given them to Nikki Wood, you know?
That's
I
fair.
just think
That's
that
fair.
would have been fair.
Yeah, A+. This episode is top tier. I think I always assumed it was one of the Joss episodes. So, but I guess that makes sense. It wouldn't be because family was.
He wants you to think that.
Yeah. And that's wild that someone new directed this episode. Or someone new wrote it.
Did he do other ones in this season, or was that his only for the season?
If you look at Nick Mark's direction, it's some of the best direction in the show. I think he did Conversations with Dead People.
Hell yeah! See, tracks.
Yeah,
every
play.
episode.
Both of them are like plays.
And he did one of my most underrated, I think, if I remember correctly, which is Double Meat Palace. And whatever you think about Double Meat Palace, the direction of
It's
that,
true.
the David Lynchian like canted angles.
It is very David Lynch.
Oh,
Yeah,
guess
the
what else he
discomfort.
did this season?
Hmm.
Checkpoint, which is
Oh, wow.
good for him, man.
I love that we're on a string of really good directors too, because I feel
I
like we just
know.
recorded an episode, Ian, where we were like, Sean Astin. Crushing it.
So, in case Ian, you probably knew, Zach, you might not have. Sean Astin directs the episode of Angel after he loses his soul in Angel season 4, and it's the only episode he directs. And
it's a terrible script with very much saved, even made to a C, because it's a F tier episode.
Is that where he kills the beast?
No. This is when he's trapped in the cell and he's Hannibal Lecter.
Oh God!
And we're just circling the drain till Faith gets there.
But if you're watching it and looking for something to like, it's like, well, the direction's doing the best it can do.
Yeah,
you know?
With this script that's like 4 pages. I love this episode. We know where to find everybody because this is a Patreon episode, and we'll see you next time. Love everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.